Hello, I am composer-conductor Mark Camphouse, professor of music and director of concert bands in the George Mason University School of Music, a position I have held since 2006. I hold undergraduate and graduate degrees in music from Northwestern University. I was fortunate to have secured my first college teaching position 2 weeks after receiving my master's degree in June of 1976 at age 22. It was a 1-year visiting instructorship at the University of Oklahoma, where I was in charge of the trumpet studio and conducted the university brass ensemble. The position also came with the responsibility of serving as acting principal trumpet of the Oklahoma Symphony Orchestra. I played professionally and taught studio trumpet for 20 years before deciding to focus on conducting and composition. As a composer, 33 of my compositions are published and performed widely throughout the United States and abroad by high school, college, university, community, and military bands. As a guest conductor, I have led ensembles in 43 states, Canada, Western Europe, Central America, and China. I have co-authored and edited 5 books on composition and conducting, which are published by GIA in my hometown of Chicago. My wife, Elizabeth Curtis, serves as executive director of the Mason Community Arts Academy. We have twin daughters, 1 granddaughter, and 1 more grandchild on the way, I'm told, this September. This coming fall will mark the beginning of my 44th year of full-time teaching in higher education. At Mason, I have taught a wide variety of classroom courses as well as individual applied composition and conducting lessons at both the undergraduate and graduate levels. Those are important courses, and I very much enjoy teaching them. But, however, I must say that the highlights of my week as a musician, mentor, and teacher at Mason occur on Tuesday and Thursday afternoons, when I have the pleasure and privilege of working with some of the finest students in our School of Music in 2 rehearsals that I lead from the podium as conductor of the Mason Wind Symphony, which ranks among the finest ensembles of its kind in the Commonwealth. Making music together with bright, talented, respectful, and dedicated students in the Mason Wind Symphony is truly special, a real joy, both musically and personally. Words cannot adequately express the emptiness and frustration I feel with not being able to engage in the magic of music making with the wonderful young people in this fine ensemble over the past 7 weeks due to required policies enacted to combat the pandemic. My fine colleagues, symphonic band co-directors John Kilkenny and Denny Stokes, assisted by my gifted and wonderfully dedicated doctoral conducting assistant Samantha Clark, joined me last month in helping design an online selected topics class for Wind Symphony and Symphonic Band students. Nothing, I repeat, nothing can serve as an adequate substitute for productive twice-weekly rehearsals and performances of our 60-member Wind Symphony and 60-member symphonic band. But we were successful through a carefully planned lecture discussion format in addressing some topics and issues not normally covered in a regular large ensemble rehearsal setting. Topics like repertoire selection, rehearsal techniques, score study and preparation, and the creative process. A very successful and well-received virtual recital was organized and presented by 7 Wind Symphony section leaders, and a panel discussion, the young professional music educator, had recent Wind Symphony and Symphonic Band graduates now employed in the teaching profession sharing their real-world experiences, insight, and perspectives with currently enrolled students. There is currently a student-driven initiative underway among several Wind Symphony members who are also composers to create new compositions free of charge as a gift for middle school and high school bands in the Northern Virginia region as a gesture of community service and engagement. This student-driven initiative of giving something back to the community has my enthusiastic support. It is hoped this initiative, during these uncertain and disturbing times, will result in building closer ties between our School of Music, the Mason Community Arts Academy, area school band directors and their students, and citizens of our communities. Now, a few words about the three compositions you will hear on this recorded performance by the Mason Wind Symphony. American composer David Gillingham is among the most prolific and frequently performed composers of his generation. He has been a good friend of mine for over the past 20 years, and we have worked together as colleagues with a national mentor project for young composers that I founded 20 years ago, and also as guest conductors at an international conference with the Philharmonic Winds of Osaka, Japan. David received his PhD in Theory and Composition from Michigan State University in 1980 and has taught for 35 plus years as a professor of composition at Central Michigan University. Dr. Gillingham's beautiful setting of Be Thou My Vision was composed in 1998 for the longtime director of Indiana University Bands, Ray Kramer, and his wife Molly, as a tribute to their parents. This particular hymn was a favorite of Ray and Molly's parents. The composer provides the following program note. The work is heartfelt, expressive, and hopefully inspiring. The hymn tune, Slain, is one of my favorites and inspired me to compose a counter melody which is likened to an old Irish ballad. Since Slain is, in fact, an old Irish ballad, the two tunes share this unique camaraderie. The work is a sort of fantasy on the hymn tune and presents it on two levels, one mysterious and the other dramatic. It opens with a medieval-like flavor of reverence, leading to the first statement of Slain by solo euphonium. This is followed by the newly composed Irish ballad, which is sung, if you will, by the flute. A prayerful interlude gives way to the marriage of the two Irish tunes that grows to a glorious climax and then subsides. An ascent into heaven closes the work. I believe the performance you will hear is from a live October 2018 performance by the Mason Wind Symphony under my direction in Schlesinger Concert Hall on the campus of Northern Virginia Community College in Alexandria. Soloists are Chris Troiano, euphonium, Julia Morris, flute, and Rob Esposito, French horn. The great French composer Camille Saint-Saëns was born in Paris in 1835 and died in Algiers in 1921. In addition to his creative gifts as a composer, Saint-Saëns was also a celebrated pianist and organist. It is said that he was performing Beethoven piano sonatas at age 6. He had many interests in other fields of advanced learning, which included astronomy, philosophy, and mathematics. His most frequently performed works are Carnival of the Animals, Danse Macabre, his third symphony, subtitled The Organ Symphony, several important concertos for the piano, the violin, and the cello, and the opera Samson and Delilah. Composed in 1880, his Marche Militaire Français is the fourth and final movement of his suite Algérienne. The first three movements reflect his fondness for the exotic, non-Western sights and sounds of Algeria and the Mediterranean region. The fourth movement, Marche Militaire Français, is decidedly French in character, both dignified and haughty. You will hear a very fine transcription of this music by Dr. Mark Hindsley, longtime director of bands at the University of Illinois. bandsman of his time, Henry Fillmore, was born in Cincinnati in 1881 and died in Miami in 1956. Some band historians believe Fillmore may have composed, arranged, and edited more works for band than did John Philip Sousa. Fillmore's Rolling Thunder March was composed in 1916. Mature, technically advanced bandsmen love playing this march at a super quick tempo. It showcases the low brass section and was frequently used in years past to generate excitement at circuses or rodeos. It has been a pleasure to introduce you to the music you are about to hear from this concert and to share a bit of information about the Mason Wind Symphony, my career, and what we have been trying to accomplish during the pandemic. I wish to thank Professor Lisa Eckstein, band director at Nova Alexandria, for her always gracious cooperation in hosting the Mason Wind Symphony in their lovely Schlesinger Concert Hall. And special thanks to School of Music Director Dr. Linda Monson, whose leadership has been positive, effective, and empathetic during the challenges and uncertainties of the past 7 weeks. Please know that this presentation is part of the Mason Arts at Home programming, and there will be more School of Music concerts and events in the coming weeks. You are encouraged to keep updated with the Mason Arts at Home calendar on the Center for the Arts website. Thank you, take care, and enjoy the performance.